Hello everyone. Before we start with the video, I want to say a couple of things. I am not a financial planner nor a financial advisor. I'm not FCA approved. I'm not approved by any institution that allows me to give financial advices. Nothing mentioned in the video should be considered as an investment advice nor guidance. Everything showed, talked, and explained is for pure and only educational purposes. The risk is in your own hands, and I always recommend trading on them accounts as that's literally the only way to not lose money in this market. Enjoy the video. Hello guys, good afternoon for me. Today is Tuesday, July 13th, sorry. And I'm basically going to be talking about today's price action, today's trades, and basically, yeah, everything that happened through the day. And we're going to start with the price action that I wake up to. I wasn't paying that much attention. I got up at 6 a.m. I started editing the description of the video that I was uploading today. So it looked, like partitioned and everything. And basically wasn't entirely paying attention. But before I went to bed, I saw basically this. Before I fell asleep, this is what I saw. And I like this as a continuation, but it basically didn't have enough confluence for me to actually take it. But what we do have later is liquidity, right? We create liquidity, and that basically already gives me a pretty good, how do you say that? A pretty good feeling about this trade that would have made me take it. If I didn't like the liquidity only, then we do have somewhat of a swing low here. Let me zoom in a little. Have a little bit of a swing low here that basically price later breaks after tapping into the order block, and then it reacts to that, and it actually gives even a smaller entry than the bigger order block, to call it somehow. Keeping that in mind, keeping the higher time frame target, we could have gone for something like this, which would have been a 11244, which will still be running, as you can see. If we would have gone for so we had something here. What do we have? Yeah, that. So this is somewhat of an order block that was basically left since yesterday. So that could have been another target, as it's in a mitigated area that could basically work out, just as you can see this one did. That's kind of what I was expecting to happen, but basically it didn't, as you can see. And that would have been a 1 to an 11, or you could have gone for just that 1 to a 10 or the 1 to a 5, right? The 1 to a 10 would have been a pretty good target, simple and easy, but yeah, I can't reserve for sure what I would have done. I'm pretty sure that I would have gone for something higher than just that 5R, as it was a pretty small target. Maybe I would have gone for just this structure. But yeah, I can't reserve for sure. So I said I didn't actually take this. I went to sleep. I don't know, somewhere around 6:30. Sorry for that pause. I was I don't know how you say. Okay, just never mind. So basically, yeah, pretty good trade. I want to believe that I would have taken this. I don't know if I would have taken this one just like this, or if I would have taken this one. If I would have kept in mind everything and the fact that we basically had two patterns exactly like this one yesterday, I would have gone for it, 100% sure. And if you don't remember which ones am I talking about, let me actually show you. This is actually all today's price action. Yeah, okay. Let me actually show you, and it's basically this trade, which, as you can see, it's pretty similar. And then you got this other one, again, similar. And you even have, as an example, this one right here that had liquidity, right? And yeah, I mean, pretty good day, not gonna lie, pretty good day yesterday. Pretty good day today, although I don't think we had as many options, as many opportunities as we had the other day. But yeah, so this is basically the trade of the day, or what I would call the trade of the day, as it is a pretty clean trade that worked out perfectly as we would have liked the trade to work. Sorry. Then we have this structure, which we had this area, which is a pause just before a major break, that I've talked about. If we would have taken that on the 25%, let's actually see if that would have been a take profit or not. But we basically have 1 pip, we add the spreads, and then we changed this to 5R, and it would have actually missed out on that profit for very little. As you can see, I said that I was kind of looking for the confirmation entry, so this is the risk entry, and this would have been the confirmation entry. As you can see, the area does respect this high for a little bit, but I don't know, I just didn't like it. I don't like when price actually reaches an area and just plummets. I feel like that's pretty weak, to be honest. When it does that, let's say I have an area here, and price is coming calmly and stuff, and it does something like this, like the first candle already moves like that. I don't know, I don't like it. I usually see that it actually comes back, fucks around a little, and then maybe drops. But I basically prefer more when price actually does something like this. It just ranges a little and then makes a pretty good move, right? Here is a pretty good example. I mean, as you can see, it barely taps the order block there, ranges a little, then it gets in, drops a little, flips, comes back up, ranges, and then you have a beautiful drop and even another pause there and stuff. So yeah, I mean, that's why sometimes I say that I don't really like how it began or anything, or sometimes I say, well, that was a good beginning. So here, I wasn't really thinking of taking anything besides from this trade that we have here, just on this order block basically, as it did cause we can call this a flip. But as I said, I just didn't like the structure, so I didn't think it was going to hold. Then price, well, did this. As you can see, it just fell. So actually, I didn't actually see how much did it fall. In just one candle, it fell 46 pips. So a pretty good move. Would have we been able to actually take that? Yes and no, because this is the area that it basically reacted to. And what you gotta think about that I forgot to mention, or probably didn't even cross my mind until this past few days, basically, is that we are in the lowest time frame. Not the lowest time frame, because we can basically go to the 1 second and still find. Well, no, actually the 1 second is untradeable. I just remembered. But we can go to the 15 second. This structure is basically tradable. Believe it or not. Even here we have a major break caused by basically, I don't know, this range that we have here. And price does kind of react to that. But yeah, I'm not here to talk about that. And being basically called the 1 minute the lowest time frame. It's not, of course, the lowest time frame, but in my opinion, the lowest, cleanest time frame or something like that. So 1 minute is, I do want to add the 15 second to that. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, basically what I was trying to say is being in the lowest time frame, or one of the lowest time frames, we're basically trying to getting onto the most refined order block, right? Because if we go to higher time frames, and I'm not even talking about 1 hour, I'm talking about maybe 15 minute or 5 minute, this whole thing could be an order block, and this could be a reaction to a 50%, right? It doesn't hit the 50%, but you know what I mean. Basically, if we hit to the 5, okay, not that far. If we hit to the 5, we basically do have this sort of block here. And well, that one actually didn't get mitigated. That sucks. Well, this is a pause, let's call it that. And as you can see, well, it does kind of react to that, right? And we do have somewhat of an area here, right? This lows. And that was basically taken by this, which is caused by that candle. And then, well, price comes slowly, but it comes back down, back up, sorry, and reacts to that area, right? So being on the 1 minute, we're expecting for price to actually react on the higher time frames wicks, right? So if we take this move, if we would have gone for the 5-minute candle, as you can see, we do get mitigated even on the 50%, or we could even say on the 75. But if we choose an entry for that same area just based on the 1 minute, to be honest, the thing that I'm about to do is something that I actually don't do, but if we go for the actual order block in the 1 minute, this is the order block, right? That's the last buy before the sell, right? So what I'm trying to say here is that we're hoping for price to go as high as this, right? Instead, keep in mind, or using higher time frame order blocks, you have a higher probability of basically being tagged in because of that simple fact that you basically have a higher area. I don't know how big was the area. I don't know if it was that. Was it? I don't think so. No, it wasn't. But basically, yeah, that. So I said that I didn't do that. I don't really like using just that high order block, but I would have used something at the very least those two candles before the drop, right? And maybe I would have even gone for the 25%, not the 50, right? If I actually would have wanted to trade this sell, that actually worked out really great. And to be honest, I wasn't really interested on the potential sell that could form here. And that was actually because I don't know, when I've seen drops like this, I don't usually expect price to react to this because I don't know, I just don't, you know, because actually if you think about it on a retail trader basis, you have an area of I forgot what's, so I think it was resistance when it was on the top, and basically you say, okay, so look at what price did when it got to this area. You expect literally the same to happen later. So retail traders have a lot of stop losses just above this area, so it's pretty common for price to actually go higher than that and then continue to push lower, right? But yeah, I don't know, it reacted pretty nicely, not gonna lie. So yeah, it is what it is. So when we had this big drop, I was analyzing price and basically trying to figure out what we could do. I really like the buys, reason why I was looking for a trade here, and I talked about this range a lot. And the things that I like about this one is that, well, this is actually liquidity on the 15-second time frame that was taken by this, and I was kind of expecting price to actually break from that and basically take something here or on the lower range. But then, as you can see, that move didn't last nothing. It created liquidity here, push higher, created liquidity here, push lower, create liquidity with this. Basically, I don't know. It complemented the previous liquidity with the new one, and basically mitigated that, and then it started to go higher, right? I really like that. To be honest, I didn't want to risk it on this trade. I didn't like it enough to actually risk it. We did have a lot of liquidity on our favor, but I don't know, I just didn't feel confident enough to take that. Now, after we broke this, I was definitely interested into trading. It moved to the upside, reason why I wanted to enter on this candle. But at the same time, as I said on Telegram, we had liquidity, had pretty clean liquidity there. And as you can actually see, price later just took all of it, right? And still hasn't taken those. And I have a really good feeling that it could basically react to this, or it will take all of this as liquidity to actually finally get to this area, which is a 4-hour order block. Yeah. And basically it will, I don't know, maybe it'll do something from there. Maybe it'll go higher. Maybe, I don't know, it won't really care about that area. We really don't know what could happen from there, but basically that's what we have, right? So yeah, so pushing higher. We have, this is a complex pullback, right? This trade right here is a type 4 setup, which is complex pullback, and it's because we have flip, we range, we have a break, we flip again here, then go lower, create liquidity. Basically, when you say complex pullback, what I usually spot is this: we have a flip within the complex pullback. We don't break major structure, but we create a flip within the complex pullback structure. It does generate an entry as it respects the lows. That could have actually been an entry. If it would have reacted to something, I don't know, if let's say we had a pause here or something that we could have used, I would have definitely gone for this CE, this confirmation entry. That would have been a really good trade. But we had nothing, so I really didn't really like that entry. Then what happens? Then we have that break, we create somewhat of liquidity, right? That liquidity that we have there. We break major structure. We're not going for this, that's obvious, as it is too high, and this has that liquidity, and now it has this one. So what I was basically expecting is for price to basically do something like this, right? At the same time, I didn't like it. That's the reason why I actually didn't trade this. I didn't like it completely as, I don't know. To be honest, it was already, what time was this? 11:30. It started 11:15. I stopped trading at around 12 in the morning. I don't usually trade more than that. Reason why I might would have basically skipped out on these trades as we don't, I don't know, at this point of the day, I don't feel like trading much because I feel like I could basically take a trade that could make me take a loss, and after a day that I actually didn't trade, taking a loss, it just feels dumb. But at the same time, it's actually dumb to just skip out on the day just because of that. So what happens later? So basically, all of these highs and all of these moves that you have between those highs broken are complex pullbacks, right? Have major break, major break. This is a complex pullback. This is a complex pullback. It even flips. Yeah, it flips here. And then you have this move. This is not a complex pullback though. I mean, it's just a pullback, to be honest. And this area was pretty good. I was actually thinking more about that one because I really did like that pause. But as you can see, this one worked out great. The order block did last sell before the buy. And yeah, the only thing that I didn't like is that, well, I had an entry here. As you can see, I said I like better the lower area, so I'll go for that instead. That's when I basically deleted this order and placed it here. When it created liquidity, I actually did place the order here again, but then I saw that it flipped, then I saw that it broke, so I said that'll probably not come back for a while. So yeah, at this point, I don't know, I just didn't want to risk it. Can't risk it for sure. And as you can see, the trade actually worked out great. This is a 1 to a 6, was kind of aiming to that area. If we use the actual target that we had, would have been a 1 to a 5. As you can see, it hits it basically just after breaking this, but this is a major break here. So yeah, I'd say it was a pretty good day. Trading wise, we did not have as many opportunities as we did yesterday, and oh, actually look at this. It does create liquidity just before getting into that area. Alright, so all this is just liquidity. I really hate that we have that wick in the middle, honestly. Actually, let's how do I? Okay, and what if I go to 15 now? Oh yeah. You do whatever you want. Okay. Okay, so in the 15 second you can see that even more clear. And all of this, so you have liquidity on this high. Inducement up. And you have all of this just there. You know, all of that is liquidity. Of course, in the 1 minute it doesn't look that much, but you do have it there, so I count it as all that. So that's actually a pretty good confluence. Of course, that just indicates that it's going to go higher to take that liquidity. That doesn't indicate that it'll get that liquidity and then fall, right? But yeah, pretty good thing to spot. So that sell, as I said, I mean, I wasn't interested on it, to be honest. I didn't think it was going to work just like that, which is very simple trade, not gonna lie. But yeah. Okay, so that's basically it, that's right. I did want to talk about a few things that I mentioned through the day. And I think it was actually on EU. Yeah, the sales worked out at the end. Okay. So EU, I told you to analyze this price action. That was basically this reaction here. that I said I didn't know if it was going to hold from there, but basically it did like the fact that it basically reacted. And this is something that I talked about in the Q&A video, where you have a major structure and you have a pause or something like that just before that major structure. Of course, what will work better? If you have something like this, and then you have a pause, and then that break, what will most likely work will be the range, as it has more strength than just a pause. That's that, right? So I go for the range. But sometimes it depends, because as an example, the way that I drew this trade, this range, it actually has liquidity, so that's something that I would actually skip, more than less. But yeah, I wanted you to see this. Now we do. Price ends up reacting to something else. Now have a major break. Let me actually see, because I didn't entirely analyze this. We have a major break. Price flips from this point. Have a flip there. And where did it react to? It reacted to this. Now let's see what candle caused that. I really have to change this. I haven't really edited that just yet. And this one actually broke that, right? So we have a pause. This move basically breaks this low, as you can see, and doesn't with a wick, but it does it. And then you have another pause, but that pause actually acts as liquidity, right? So again, a pause before a major break. If we analyze this further, the only area that I would actually consider the major break will be this one, as it is the lower area, but this is also a major break. But at the same time, it's like you can't really go spotting every major break, because this is a major break, although it is considered a flip as it changes the trend. This is a major break. Well, of course, this one, which actually was caused already. Oh, look at that. Well, no, never mind. So the area itself was broken by the higher range, but you do have a range on that area that then breaks the structure, and price does come back to mitigate that range. Maybe on the 50. Yeah, actually. Barely, but yeah. That range, as I said, I mean, it's just not. And same here. I mean, it's not something that you would actually trade, right? It's not that you would take that risk entry just because it caused a major structure. It is a pretty important area, in my opinion, that can cause some really good move from there. But it's that, I wouldn't actually risk it just like that. So up here, what do we react to? So I actually drew that small area because I didn't want to draw the whole area, and it will basically look ugly with the rest of the drawings. But I have had times where, never traded this though, but I have had times where I've drawn like this, just a wake on top, and it actually works. And that's actually what we were talking earlier. We're in the lowest time frames, so we expect the lowest thing to basically work. And in the 15-second, we have just this candle that actually worked out great. But that doesn't mean that each move will do that, right? So yeah. So we had that reaction. I wasn't paying attention to EU, so when I started watching EU, I realized that we were basically reacting to this. We then have this structure, which, believe it or not, it's actually a very common structure that I've seen a couple of times, which, I don't know, maybe in the 15-second or something like that, it's somewhat of a flip and then mitigates something. Well, we could consider it, yeah, if we are very, how do you say this? I actually forgot the word. Feel like aggressive, considering what's a flip, what's a break, and what's, yeah, basically identifying structure. You could consider this as a flip, and yeah, in the 15 seconds time frame, you could actually take this as a trade. And what that gives you an advantage, that you can have such small entries, that if you coordinate that with higher time frame structure, then you could actually get some really nasty trades, right? But yeah, that's as simple as that. That's why I wanted to show that, because there was probably something in the lower time frames that would actually explain that move and why does it happen. Not so often, but it does happen every now and then, and you actually get to see that. So yeah, I wanted to go with this. So you can see price never really mitigated me. And yeah, later we did have this area. Oh, what I was actually analyzing is this. So we react to that area. This will be somewhat of continuation, right? We then make a major break of structure. That major break of structure, we can say that it was caused by this range that we have just before that break, and we could have gone for something like this, entry on the 50 or the 25 or wherever. But at the same time, we do have the higher area that basically comes from mitigation and caused the major break as the whole move. And as you can see, in this case, that's the extreme that worked. Sometimes the extreme will work. Sometimes the decisional will work, right? Here we have a decisional to a major break, and that's what worked. Here we have a decisional to a flip, and that's what worked. And well, here we have the extreme, right? On this trade, it works. Sorry, to this one, to this small trade that we have there. And in this case, the extreme worked out again. And even if you check out this with further detail, we actually don't have a break, but here we have a break. Price comes back to mitigate that. And if we would have actually broken this could have been a trade for us, right? Because we have that type of continuation pattern, such as just like this, right? Comes back to mitigate that. That works. We have a break. I would have gone for the 50 or the 25% of this, and it does seem like I might would have been missed. But yeah, basically that's that. I think we did have some good trades that we could have taken advantage of. If I would have been analyzing EU today, I might would have been able to catch this, as it even has liquidity within it. As I said, when I have an extra confluence, a flip is more than enough for me to actually take a trade. Sometimes there's a flip, there's a break, and that's not enough for me. Sometimes there's a flip and a break, and that's more than enough for me without any confluences. And sometimes I just can't really explain. I can't really say for sure. So in this case, I would go for flip and break. In this case, I will go for just a flip or even just a break. To be honest, there are some things that I just don't have written. They're not instructions that I have embedded on my head or anything like that. But I just do out of logic or habits most more than logic. And yeah, they work out great for me. So yeah. And I think that's basically also today. No trades taken. And pretty much it. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you get something from this. And I'll be seeing you tomorrow, guys.